It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
It's been a while. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Ruqya.
Hey, how's everybody? So we have
Hello,
people coming in.
everybody.
Hi, Johnny.
Nice to meet you all. So let's get started. So I'd like to start by.
Can
Yeah,
can I
Ruqya.
have the okay? How come I'm recording already?
Yeah. So
You can't hear me. Johnny, can you
yeah,
hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, your voice is clear for me, Ruqya. Can you hear me?
No, Johnny seems to be having a problem.
Johnny, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
your voice is clear. Ruqya,
Yes,
ready when you are.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay, so let's get started. So I'd like to welcome everybody, starting by welcoming our guest, Ruqya Khan, who's a SMILE strategist, an ICF coach, and also a TEDx speaker. And we're here today to hear from her about the power of mindset. But actually, the idea of coaching corner is just a place for us as coaches to get together and start working together and sharing. So it's not just the classic way of having top-down knowledge transfer. It's rather interactive. So it's supposed to be interactive. So I welcome everybody, and feel free, please, at any moment to share, to exchange. So it's a mutual space. It's a space for mutual learning. So let's grow together. Let's have this space as our own for all of us. So to renew ourselves, to thrive, to share, to expand our knowledge and even our connection. So just being here surrounded with these great people, so it's in itself a great asset. So thank you all for being here. So I already I feel I have many friends, surrounded by many friends here, so I can see many people I know. So and longing also to get to know more of the others. So let's get started with Ruqya. So it's an interactive webinar, so you can share at any moment. So you can really jump in and share your thoughts. Ruqya, so let's get started with you. So and simple question. So you pick this topic. So what's your motives behind that?
So my purpose behind picking mindset is I feel that's where it all begins. I feel that's where success begins. I feel that's where failure begins. I feel that's where everything begins. That's why when I was asked by Excellentia, which topic would you like to speak on? I said, without thinking, I said mindset, the power of mindset, because it's so important. So let's start off with a story, because for those of you who've heard me, and I can see very many familiar faces and names over here, it would be lovely if you guys could turn on your cameras. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Max. Thank you for joining in. I can see Afifa. I can see Sonia, Doha, Anu. Thank you for joining in, guys. Thank you so much. So let's start with a tiny story. A tiny story of me as a little kid walking with my uncle in the fish market where we were buying fish. And I walked with him across different stalls, and I noticed that he would just go to the stack of fish that was of a particular size. You know, he wouldn't look for the fish that were larger than a particular size. And he would just go to the stack of fish and just look at it and go, no, these are too big. And he would pick another, pick from another stack, something that was smaller. And I observed him. And as an 8-year-old, didn't quite register in my mind what he was doing. But I was curious. And so I just kept quiet. I observed and I asked him, I said, Uncle, why are you doing this? I noticed that, the big fish look like they're big, and that must be so yummy. And he goes, no, I have a reason. I have a reason for picking something that's smaller. And as we are told to listen to our elders, I listened and I thought, that's the way you pick fish. So is this a session about picking fish? Not really, but the reason behind the story is, as I grew up and began to go pick for my own fish, I realized I felt more inclined to pick a smaller size. Until one day, just conversational, all grown up, I asked him, I said, why do we pick fish of that size? Why were you doing that? Any guesses, guys? Kay said this is going to be interactive. So I would like to open the floor to all the amazing coaches out here to tell me what could be the reason? What could be the reason we were picking fish of a particular size? There were so many big fish in the market, yet we picked a particular size. I continue to do that moving forward in life as a mom.
The size of your pan, is it?
Hey, Diwan, you're supposed to hold on to that answer.
Because I'm a cook, I know exactly what it is. Because I don't want to have a big, fish in my pan.
Exactly.
And also cleaning a fish is also not that easy. If you get a big fish, cleaning it up, cutting it up, I just want something that's small and sweet.
Small and sweet. So how many times?
As a connoisseur of fish, I feel that the smaller the fish, the tastier it is.
Johny, you should have spoken up earlier. But Diwan has a point. It was to do with the size of the pan. So I'm going to take it further and ask you, how often in life do we pick a small fish or a small project because that's the size of our pan? Because we think that's what we're capable of. That's how much our mindset is. It's convenient to clean the fish. It's convenient to chop it up. It's less effort. So that's what the power of mindset to me is. It nails it. It nails it in terms of what are the things that we're exploring as opportunities? What are the things that we're pushing away as challenges? Where are we placing ourselves in the market? Are we picking something big, a little bit extra effort, or are we picking something comfortable? Your thoughts, guys?
Or it was embedded.
Yes?
Go ahead, Annu.
Go ahead, Annu.
Yeah. Perhaps it was embedded as a child in your subconscious mind when you used to go with your uncle to buy fish, and maybe because of that reason, was it?
Yeah, that's what we see, right? Growing up, we see the people around us, the choices they're making, and we begin to associate our success and our mindset with those people and with the way they're thinking. So somehow, people around us influence the choices we make. So success to me could look different, success to you could look different. Yet we begin to define our success by the way someone else is looking at it. So that's what I meant with that story.
And I think Richard Branson was saying that, if your dreams do not scare you, you're dreaming too small, right? So I think that's very important, and you have a very good point right there.
Thank you. Any other thoughts?
I like the story, Ruqya, but I'm somehow intrigued by it. So maybe, so he was looking for something that fits his circumstances. So maybe it's not just I'm challenging, I'm kind of provoking.
Sure.
So maybe it's not about the mindset, it's about the circumstances. So just he were kind of logical. That's exactly what it goes with my own resources. So what do you think about that?
I love being challenged. Thank you for throwing that at me. So it's kind of like when you circumstances. So the circumstances could be the pan in the story. So the circumstances could be the pan, right? So what if when you start working on a larger fish, breaking it into chunks, or delegating work to others who are willing to work with you on a project where you don't have to take the entire load yourself. Maybe there could be two pans that could work on a meal together. As that for an idea.
Excellent.
Thank you, Said. So what I do, and for those of you who aren't acquainted, I have been a wordsmith for the last 20 years. So I come from the world of words. I've been a writer with various local and international newspapers since 2000 August. And I segued into personal development when I got on an NLP program in 2011. So 9 years of being an NLPer, master practitioner, TEDx speaker. Do I wait to be ready? No. When I did my TEDx speech, I was not a trained orator. I was not someone who was, a Toastmaster or somebody knew when to take my pauses, how to hold back my ums and ums. But all I knew is I had a message. And so I jumped on stage, delivered it, and bang from there came my SMILE acronym. So that is why I'm known as a SMILE strategist. I help people move from feeling stuck to unstuck using the SMILE strategy, which is, by chance, a mindset training tool. So,
I'd like to, I like first what you said. You said, so make your move before you're ready. I like that. That's exactly what this Brown says. So you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that's actually a mindset. I'd like to set the stage for this webinar, talking about mindset. What do we talk about exactly? So what's that thing, mindset? To know later on how to acquire it, how to develop it. So what is it?
So I love another great question, Kes, and I'm going to request everybody to type in what you're going to see now. So I'm actually going to do something, and it's a magic trick where I'm going to show you something, and I'm going to ask you to tell me what you're seeing. Okay? So let's do this. So what are you beginning to see? What do you see? You can type, you can speak out, you can Excuse me?
It's a nice scarf, isn't it?
It is, but what else are you seeing? It's a scarf. Tell me more. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing a divine Ruqya.
You're seeing a divine Ruqya. Anything else?
A lot of joy.
A lot of?
A lot of happiness, a lot of joy.
A lot of joy, thank you. What else? You can type in, guys, if you would like to type and you're comfortable to type, please type.
I'm seeing rainbow colors, Ruqya.
I love that. Thank you, Soumya.
I see that you have technical difficulties.
I'm having technical difficulties. I appreciate that. Anjali says colorful. I don't know what's written there. Diversity. Thank you, Max.
Inspirational thoughts, maybe?
Inspirational
color,
thoughts.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Color.
I love that. Thank you, Daha. So, and slowly we come to the end of the beautiful scarf. Colorful.
I see differences.
You see differences. Beautiful. Lot of
the colors.
Colors, shades, textures, technical difficulties, a rainbow of colors. Let me just look at all the diversity, acceptance. I love this.
Divine,
So,
divine.
Divine, yes. Johnny said divine Ruqya. So, in a given moment, you're always looking at life through filters. You're always looking at life through filters. There's always something that is standing in the way between the reality and between how you're looking at it. For some of you, it felt divine. For some of you, it was colorful. Somebody played around and said technical difficulties, radiance, beautiful scarf. Some of us see the bigger picture. Some of us focus on the minute details. Some of us focused on the colors. Some of us focused on the feeling. So each and every time there's a filter that we use, you're either generalizing, you're either deleting, or you're distorting. So in a given moment, in a given situation, be mindful of the filters that you are using. What are you using to impact the way you look at life? That for me is mindset. Loha, you're muted.
Sorry. So if I can reinforce what you just said, so maybe my personal definitions related to the mindset, and even through the psychological dictionary or any study or research that you can make it, that mindset is a kind of mental attitude which help us to determine how we will interpret and respond to situations. And this is why maybe we can have the same thing that we are seeing, and everyone have her own or his own interpretation and thoughts about it and how he's seeing things. So here maybe through the different answers that others are provided, some of us are seeing colorful because actually the interpretation that I have is colorful stuff or inspiration or challenge and situation. Maybe another thing that I can add it related to the mindset, that studies said that there are 6 levels that we can make the differences between the type of mindset. Some persons have fixed mindset and other have a growth mindset. And what make the differences between both types is the desires, the skills, effort, setbacks, and feedback, and also the talented peers. The 6 levels maybe make the difference between from a persons to another's, and help also to develop and adopt a new way of thinking and growth mindset in general.
Absolutely, because isn't that what it is? It's a mindset. It is where you've set your mind. It's that scale. It's kind of that thermostat that you have at home, which makes sure that you're at a particular temperature. And it's absolutely up to you and your thoughts and your filters to decide whether you're going to push that level of temperature higher or take it slightly lower, whatever feels comfortable for you in the moment. Thank you, Daha, for sharing that.
Thank you, Daha. Let's hear from all of you guys. So what's your own definition of mindset?
So what's the difference between perspective and mindset?
Great question by Saeed Al-Hamid.
So what if is there truly a difference between perspective and mindset?
I may jump to reflect on the thing, on that question, because actually mindset for me is a set of attitudes.
Absolutely.
And the set of attitudes, it depends on circumstances. If we look at the wheel of life, so maybe we have different types of mindsets in these different circumstances. So maybe, as Doha said, we're here with that really growth mindset in the field of maybe work. When it comes to social life, we're with the fixed mindset. So we can have different types of mindset. And even thinking of Stephen Covey, I can recall what he said about the proactive mindset versus the reactive mindset, being actually victimizing or looking at yourself as just the outcome of your circumstances versus being the writer, the scripter, the one who actually controls his life. So there are different types of mindset, and mindset is a set of attitudes. So that means how do I lean toward things? Do I leaning positively toward this or that thing? Maybe I'm leaning positively when it comes to taking risks. Maybe I'm leaning negatively when it comes to socializing. So it's that thing, the attitude. And the attitude is shaped by many things. It's shaped by our cognitive abilities. It's shaped by our emotions. It's shaped by our values, by everything, even our body. And all these things are really interacting together. And the way they interact depends on our perception. So the perception colors this interaction, and this interaction actually lead to that mindset, creates that mindset, and determine how we lean positively or negatively toward one or another thing. So I hope I helped in answering that question. So Ruqya, up to you.
So for me, I think a perspective is kind of like the light with which you're looking at your mindset. So again, looking at filters, looking at what your perspective is in that moment. As in, if you're going through a bad day, your mindset could be, I mean, I think a mindset also evolves. So if you're having a bad, a rough few days, the way you look at things is going to change. And also when you look at, when you're having a good number of days, the way you're looking at things also changes. So your mindset also kind of evolves based on what's going on in your life as well. So as per your perspective and the way you're looking at things, that's how it happens. And I like what Johny asked in terms of paradigm. So your mindset and perspective is very closely related to paradigm, wherein your paradigm shifts when you have different kinds of days depending on that. So, and mindset tends to evolve therefrom, is how I see it.
Yeah, if I may share something, please.
Yes,
Go ahead, please.
I've been in the field of soft skills and training for the last 15 years, and we were always talking about the mindset. What basically I'll speak about now, I'm going to share with you my personal experience with the mindset. A few years ago, my ex-husband have kidnapped my youngest child. We had zero connection. We had no idea where he is. Not a single clue or a lead could lead me as a mother to find out where is my son. Frankly speaking, it took me 2 months of crying, running around, finding any leads. Still get emotional when I speak about this experience. But after 2 months, I was like, okay, Reham, do you remember what you teach people about the mindset? It's subject to how your personal attitude, how's your mindset, how you look at things. You have to find something positive about the situation that you are in, that it can keep you going, it can keep you looking, it can maintain your own life. So basically, I was looking for something positive to set my mindset into. So I was like, what is positive about not knowing where is my son or the location, or not even able to hear his voice? The only positive thing I was able to find is my son is basically safe, because towards the end, he's with the father. So that's something can give me a peace of mind as a mother, that I don't have to worry about his safety. I don't have to worry about if he's eating, if he's hungry, he's sick. All these things are safe for him. My son was absent for 4.5 years with zero connection. Within this 4.5 years, within the positive mindset, the personal attitude about how you're looking at things, how you want to carry on your own life, I was able to pick up my life again, focus on my study. I finished my CIPD, for example. I got married. I was focused more in my work, in my business, in my field. My eldest son, which is the one, because the challenge is not only missing one son. The other challenge is that I have another child who's missing his brother and looking at his mother, breaking down. So within 4.5 years, I always believe in the mindset, you have a problem. If it can be fixed, there is nothing to worry about, as long as you're doing the best you can do. If you have a problem and there is nothing much you can do about it, you should have faith and leave it for God's hand and carry on your life and have this positive mindset. And frankly speaking, after 4.5 years, I found him by the door. He just rang the doorbell and left the son there and left. Thank God he's been with me for 1.5 years now. But thank you. I just sharing the story because it was not easy. I face the challenge every time I speak to people about the mindset. They tell me it's easy to do, hard. It's easy to say, hard to do. Yes, I do agree. But towards the end, you are responsible of your own mindset. You are the one who's feeding your brain with thoughts and ideas. I can or I cannot. Once you find what is positive about your personal situation, your work situation, your personal life, whatever challenge you are going through, trust me, once you have this positive thoughts, it gives you a positive feeling, and positive feeling will lead to a positive attitude, will lead to a positive result. Nobody is responsible for my mindset except me. If I'm getting affected by people around me, by a situation, regardless how negative, there is absolutely nothing negative more than a mother, a son is being taken away from her for 4.5 years. The challenge of keep going your life, finishing your study, doing your workshop, taking care of your own mother, your own child, getting married again, picking up a life again. I'm sharing this because I'm a strong believer of the mindset. Let me tell you one thing. I was actually going to bed when I received the notification about your session. And then I was like, oh no, let me sleep. This is my nap time. And then I was like, Reham, the mind of power sets, you never know. You might learn something new today. So I'm very happy that I took the decision to log in and to hear to all these beautiful thoughts. Thank you so much for giving me the chance, Ruqya.
Thank you for
Thank you,
sharing.
Reham. Thank you so much.
I have a question, if you don't mind, Reham. I have a question. So how did you get to that mindset, to that level of self-awareness? So if you have to share a few things around that.
Okay, you know, as an Egyptian or as an Arab, we always face this challenge. People who works in human development and training, that they tell us, you know this joke about look at the not the empty half of the cup, look at the full half of the cup and the water and all these things. But I'm a strong believer of what I preach. And I always said to myself, there is absolutely nothing negative. And I was begging God, to be honest, please send me a sign, send me a sign, send me something. Excuse me, one day I was looking at the Facebook, and then I saw a post about a missing child, that he was gone missing from his parents. So it's just something, was shining here. Which one is in a better situation, Reham? Yourself as a mother who knows that your son is safe with the dad, or this mother who has absolutely no idea where is her son has been gone or taken or been treated or been abused. So I said, I would rather be in my current situation, not being in her situation, because her situation is more difficult than mine. So that's when it clicked the mindset. You have to always look at what is positive in your situation. Absolutely, there is no way on earth that everything is 100% negative or 100% positive. Okay, this is only in heaven, 100% positive only in heaven. But on earth, there is something positive and there is something negative about everything, about your partner, about your financial, about your health, about your work, about whatever. Reham, what is positive about your situation? 4.5 years and not able to see your son, to communicate with him. He's not even going to school. His file is still in the same school that I registered him for. He's not being educated for 4.5 years. The only positive thing, he's safe with the father. When he's hungry, food will be given to him. When he's sick, he will take him to the doctor. He's safe, Reham. So you should thank God for being blessed that at least you are aware that he's safe. Once I have this mindset that he's safe, it gave me a peace of mind. It made me feel, okay, one day he's coming back. You have knocked all the doors, Reham. You have done everything which is possible. Now it's the time to leave it to God's hands, which is give me the power to carry on. And every single time I remembered him or I cry out for him, because of course I had my moments, which is okay. It's okay to let yourself to cry, but not for long, for such a short period, and pick up yourself again. I always tell myself and tell my kids, if you wait for people to motivate you, you're going to be waiting for so long. You have to motivate yourself. You are responsible for your own mindset, nobody else.
You're coaching yourself, Reham. It's self-coaching. It's self-coaching. You're coaching yourself. Powerful. So I open up to everyone of you. So if
thank you so much. And I'm sorry if I took so much time to speak.
No. You reached this discussion. So Ruqya, if you'd like to interact with Reham, so the space is yours, guys. So if you'd like to interact.
I would actually like to say that what Reham has shared is so powerful, and thank you for joining, Reham. Thank you for accepting the invite and being part of it. Absolutely powerful. So thank you so much. And the one thing, as I was sharing, that I often do speak about is the SMILE, which is an acronym which I came up with when I did my TEDx talk. It is as simple as that. It is S stands for silence the mind. So when you're in a situation where you're feeling stuck, the first flow of thoughts that come to your mind are always negative. There is always the chatter that goes on in your head. You begin to wonder, am I capable enough? Would this be a good enough venture for me? Can I stand up to this? Am I good enough? Would this work out for me? Every other chatter that goes on in your mind, learning to silence that is the most important thing. I was at a place where I was absolutely distraught after being where I was in my journey as a mindset trainer. I found myself lost when I'd lost my dad, when my children moved from home for university. Felt absolutely deserted, dark, lost. But it took me some time to find my feet once again. And to do that, I had to first shut out all the noise that was going on in my head in terms of my thoughts. I had to silence it and then move forward. So silence the mind in any given situation. M stands for manage your attention. Where is my attention going? Am I working towards how I can contribute as a speaker, as a mom, as a trainer, as a coach? Or am I focusing on the loss? Am I focusing on the pain and the emptiness? Identifying the intention. I stands for identify the intention. What is the intention that I have in constantly speaking about the smile? I want to leave it behind as a legacy. I don't care if you remember Ruqya Khan or you don't, but I want you to remember there's more to a smile than just a smile. I want you to remember that, you know, when you smile, there's so much more that goes into it. So there I can see Johnny smiling away. So identify the intention. What is that imprint, impact that you want to make in this world as a coach? What is it that you want to leave behind? L, let things go. So for Reham, it was very simple to just hold on to the hurt, the fear, and everything. But she chose, very consciously chose, to let go of all that fear and move on with her life. She took a decision that day that this is what she's going to put her attention on. She's going to silence everything that's going on in her mind. She's going to identify the intention of moving forward in her life. And she so beautifully did that. But to do all of that, she had to let things go, isn't it?
Thank you. Very true. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, and when I say let things go, I'm talking not just about fears, I'm talking about past failures. I'm talking about labels that we might have taken on upon ourselves, you know, where we've identified ourselves as a particular kind of person, a person with a pan of a particular size. So what is it that you need to let go of as a mindset and then grow it? Because we're not looking at having a fixed mindset. We want to grow. Want to have a growth mindset. And last but not least is E, which is energize the possibilities. What do I mean by that? I mean, invest in a lot of learning. We do that. But do we put it into action? Very rarely. We attend courses, we go for seminars and webinars now, we workshops, courses, we listen to podcasts, read books. But until you put things into action, you're not going to see results. Until you make that little tweak, that little shift, even if it's a 1 degree shift, you're not going to see changes coming about. So energize the possibility, invest in self-development, not in shelf development, where you're making notes but not doing anything about it. So that's a SMILE strategy in just short of 5 minutes. There's lots to it. And how does it help you? It helps you in terms of bettering your relationships. It helps you in terms of improving the conversation in your mind. It helps you in terms of making sure that your resources are effectively utilized. Because, and when I say resources, I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about time, I'm talking about where you're investing your funds. You know, all of that is effectively put in place when you have the right mindset. So, Reham, very powerful story. Thank you for sharing it, and a perfect example of how you can silence the mind, manage your attention, identify the intention, let things go, and energize the possibilities, and continue to smile forward. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So, if there are any questions, so please, if you have any question, jump in right away and interact with all of us.
I want to share a point.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yes, please.
The point that I want to share is, first of all, thank you, Reham, for such a wonderful sharing and very powerful and intense. And what I want to share is that when I started this journey of coaching to be practicing my own coaching, I was planning to do one-on-one coaching face-to-face with my clients in Bangalore. And then the COVID started, and for everybody, COVID was a challenge, was a thing that spoiled their plans. But for me, what I started looking at from a different lens is that what's the opportunity for me in this COVID pandemic is that I figured out that geography became history, because what I was thinking my market for coaching as just Bangalore city and meeting people within Bangalore has now become the whole globe, and I'm meeting people and I'm coaching people from international locations. So I I think that's another example of what Ruqya is talking about as a mindset shift. And if I was willing to look at that shift, got that shift. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Johny. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Anybody else would like to share about how shifting a mindset, just changing a slight bit, leads to such a massive shift in the results you have?
The time for our dear friends to just think about your question. I'd like to ask you a question, okay?
Yes,
So,
please.
speaking about mindset, is it something we carry on with us everywhere we go, or something we adjust depending on the situation? So I choose to be this or that guy in that moment. So how is it going? So if I work on my mindset and achieve that thing, so would it stay with me forever, or it's something you get and you need to play with it, adapt, adjust depending on your circumstances? So what's that thing, mindset? Is it something to acquire once forever and forget about it, or something to keep developing, keeping tweaking? So how is it going?
In my understanding, a mindset keeps evolving. A mindset keeps evolving depending on the experiences you've been having, depending on the thoughts that you've been thinking regularly, because we do tend to repeat the thoughts that we have in our mind, right? We're constantly thinking the same stuff over and over again. And it's only when you shift or change those thoughts consciously, you become consciously aware of what you're thinking, and then you make a shift, is when your mindset also begins to change. So, yeah.
For something work on his mindset. So is there anything like positive and negative mindset? So how do I know what's a positive mindset and what's an, how would I know? So just working on that. So where to go? Where to position myself this morning?
Okay, so a great way to look at it is the results that you've been having. The results that you've been having, the people that you've been mixing with. One of the things that I say is this whole situation that we're going through is kind of like when you're on a train, where all the information that you're consuming is becoming amplified. All the information from outside in terms of the deaths, in terms of the way the world is moving, the market situation and all of that. It feels like it's becoming amplified. And to go inwards and realize what you would like to do in this situation, to go inwards and realize, how can I make the best use of this situation? How can I make the best use of this day to day, and move forward? Who are the people with me? What are the resources that I have? So I think a mindset definitely evolves over a period of time, and a lot has to do with the experiences and the filters through which you're looking at life.
Yeah, so challenging you again. So, and this is the place for all of us to really brainstorm together and just grow our thinking. So I'll come to you, Ruqya, and I just asking you, show me the way of that positive mindset. So what would you say to me?
I would say go inwards. Yes. Because a lot of the times we're looking outwards for the answer. The answer is not out there. The answer is inside of you. And again, it is a lot to do with your experiences of life. It has a lot to do with how much you are willing to stretch or step out of your comfort zone. Again, do I want to feel challenged in the situation? No, I want to have fun in the situation. I want to have fun in the situation. If I looked at it from a perspective of, oh, I'm being challenged, then it begins to feel like an uphill task. You move forward one step at a time, one thought at a time. You make a change one thought at a time. The reason sometimes it feels overwhelming is because we want to change, we want to conquer the mountain in one step. That's not possible. You cannot climb the mountain. You cannot summit Everest in one shot. You have to do it one step, one place at a time. You know, and as you do that, sometimes you also have to come back. You know, because of altitude sickness, because your body is not keeping up, you have to reach a particular level and then step down also, because you have to acclimatize yourself to the changes that are happening around you. So if you were to ask me, how do I look for the way forward? The way forward is inwards. It's only when you kind of get those resources from within yourself is when you're going to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very.
So on the chat, so I may share some comments on the chat. So Mohsen is saying a new mindset would help us gain new perspectives that will lead us to new results without being anchored to our past or stuck on one potential future outcome.
Absolutely.
Johny said empowering versus disempowering mindset. Somebody is saying every situation and challenge is a learning for us. And going inwards help us to see what we are learning as we have attached that situation in our life to learn something. So yeah, that's really interesting. So your reaction to these comments, Ruqya?
So when I do absolutely agree with the comments coming in, when actually Zoha says mindset and perspective are to be the base variables to human awareness and evolution. I love that. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about awareness, just being aware of what you are feeling in the moment. You know, sometimes we feel a sense of anger or bitterness, and we kind of try to push it away, thinking that it's wrong to feel that way. But actually it isn't. It's okay, because each one of us feel different levels of good and bad emotions in a day. If you tell me that you're only a good person, I don't buy it. I don't buy it, because it takes enough bad within us to also make us good. It's the bad that teaches us how much the good is valuable. So acknowledge even the bad. It's not a bad thing to feel bad, or it's not a bad thing to feel angry or bitter. Don't shrug it away. Be honest with your emotions. Have that awareness of what you're thinking. There is a Mohsen's comment who says a new mindset would help us gain new perspective that would lead us to new results without being anchored to our past or stuck or one potential future outcome. True that. You have to be open to new things. You have to be open to welcome new learnings into your space. A failure itself is also a learning. However, we avoid failures, or we think that a failure is a setback. It is a setback, but it's giving you that perspective to take a step back and see things differently. So I think a failure is not a setback, but it's an opportunity to step back and take a look at it differently. So I like that. Johnny says empowering versus disempowering mindset. So I think this was in alignment with what I was sharing at that time about, you know, how you can go inwards and feel more empowered, right, Johnny? You can type in a comment. Yeah, all right, yes, thank you. Sumaya says every situation and challenge is a learning for us, and going inwards helps us to see what we are learning, and as we have attracted that situation in our life to learn something new. Absolutely. So that's exactly what I was sharing about some time back. Johnny says there are no failures, only feedback. And I'd like to take that one step up, saying there is no feedback. There is actually feed forward, where you are using that feedback to understand how you can feed forward, move forward, apply that into your day-to-day things, and how can you move forward. So we were talking about growth mindset, and I'd like to share here something. I've come up with a new acronym, which I'd like to share, which is growth. To me is all about gratitude, resilience, ownership, wonderment, trust, and honesty. Growth. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Dr. Dairul. Thank you so much. So it's about being grateful for what you have.
Thank you too.
Thank you. So when you have a tough situation, how can you be grateful for a tough situation? When I lost Papa, I felt I lost my anchor. I felt he was my anchor. He was that person, my go-to person, my hero. But you know what? When you lose an anchor, that's when you start sailing, is what I later realized. I sail because I want his flag, his values to kind of be that wind that takes me forward. So work I do is as a sadaqa jariyah for him. Have gratitude for being his daughter. Have resilience, even in those tough days, have resilience that you will push through. Take ownership of who you are, of your situation, of your faults, of your flaws. Some of us want to be perfect. I think the whole concept of perfection is flawed. What about wonderment? When I say the concept of perfection is flawed, what are you wondering? What are you wondering about perfection? Because each one of us has a different way of looking at perfection. Trusting yourself, being honest with your emotions. It's so important when you look at mindset, when you look at the growth mindset. Any thoughts?
So we open up to all our friends here. So if you'd like to share, go ahead.
So Ruqya, you spoke about your papa being your anchor.
Yes.
And after being an anchor for me, my papa, for 56 years of my life, not 56, 54 years, even after he moved on, he's become more of an anchor to me now than what he was.
I agree.
Yeah, so when you spoke about your papa, I think I was getting in touch with how anchors become stronger and not weaker in their passing on. So
True.
Thanks for reminding me.
Thank you, Johnny. And you know what? When you set sail, when I felt that whole thing about, oh, okay, I've now set sail, you take the anchor with you when you set sail,
Yes,
right?
yes,
You
yes.
don't leave it at the harbor. It
Right.
comes with you. So yes, so beautiful.
So it's not a moving on, it's a moving with.
It's a moving with, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ruqya, from a coaching perspective. So since most of us here are coaches or willing to be coaches or using coaching skills, so is it mindset, is it enough for us to achieve what we'd like to achieve? What else to add to spice up the thing? So
Action. I think what is missing when you're just focused on mindset and you say, I've got this amazing mindset, but you don't use it or you don't put action into it, it doesn't work. It's kind of like having a Mont Blanc pen and just keeping it in your pocket, never using it, it dries out. So like everything else, and like a muscle, mindset has to be exercised. There has to be action that has to be done with it. Your actions have to be in congruence with your mindset. And it's only then that you build it up. It's only then that you make it strong. And it's only then that you see results. Action's important.
So how is it really true to say that coaching is about that? It's mainly about changing someone's perspective from a negative to a positive mindset, and then allowing him to move on, using that positive mindset to achieve things or build some kind of structure around that. So use that mindset to set up a plan and build the structure around that strategy to make it really something part of his day-to-day life.
So coaching, to my understanding, coaching is about creating awareness within your client. Things that your client might not have seen. You walk in with your client into this dark cave of a challenge that they might have brought to you. They take you there because they're scared to walk into that cave alone. So you as a coach walk with your client with a torch, with a lantern or whatever you need to. Oh, wow, Johnny, look at that. You said, can you throw some light? And I was talking about lanterns. So you walk into the dark holding your the lantern in your hand, being the one to walk with your client. The only difference is you're not leading. It's the client who's leading. And then you let that light be that awareness that you begin to create as you move forward. And then together you create the action points. Together you understand what the resources the client already has, what resources the client might need. Is this truly what they want to achieve? Is this the cave they have to be in or somewhere else? Just having that awareness. For me, that's what coaching is all about. It's just walking with your client, being the light for them, but walking with them where they take you.
Speaking about mindset and limiting beliefs, how do they relate?
So limiting beliefs, and I know Divan was playing funny when he said technical glitch when I showed this, but some of us are just stuck on those technical glitches. I know him, so I know he was just playing silly. But sometimes you meet those people who love to be in that victim mind frame, constantly complaining. They're constantly blaming anybody and everybody under the sun. That's why I did the TEDx talk where I said the art of possibility. Stop complaining, stop pushing the blame on others, take ownership. So limiting beliefs are just an excuse to me, which you have to come to a point, you have to be kind with yourself initially to understand when are you going to be ready to shed them. And then when you come to that space of acceptance that, yes, I'm done with my drama, then you let go. I hope that makes sense.
So let me try to understand. So is it when I change my mindset, so I start to understand, to move away, the erase the limiting beliefs, or is it the opposite? Once I remove them away, so I start to acquire and get that limiting belief. So which way it goes?
So it's like the chicken and the egg. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Do you mind, Ruqya, if I interfere, please?
Yes, please. It's for us all.
Okay. I agree with you. A belief should be there because God's willing, regardless how much we plan for things, it's still up to God's willing. Sharing my story, that's why I said I have knocked every door. I have done everything possible to bring my son back. But when it reached to a limit that there is nothing much I can do as Reham, as an individual, I have to believe and leave it in God's hands. But you reach to this position once you are 100% sure that you have knocked every single door, tried every single possible way to achieve your task or your goal. And then when you reach to this point, then you have to let go and believe if it's meant to be, it will meant to be. But it doesn't mean that you stop trying. Okay, for 4.5 years, I have never stopped trying. I was doing everything possible. In our culture, we have something called, I don't know how it's called in English, but بالعربي اسمها عادات عرب, which is you set a team of people meeting, which is the top in each family, and they start discussing the situation, trying to solve the situation, and you have to agree towards the end. I have knocked every single door, which is things that even I don't believe in, but towards the end, I said, I want to have the strong feeling that I have tried every possible way to achieve. Coaching is about not leading, as you mentioned, is walking with them through. So if you cannot coach your own self, change your mindset, you will not be able to do this with others. Change is not easy. Change requires time. Change requires effort, willing, belief. So if we believe that tomorrow morning we can change our mindset, that's impossible. It's subject to each and everyone's ability to adopt the change. It's subject to as you said, accepting the failure. You will fail. Being someone who's assertive, knowing that I'm accepting my failures or learning from my mistake, that will really help. But answering your question, to me, yes, there are certain points that we have to believe in Iman and leave it to God's hand, but it doesn't mean that we just sit down and wait for things to happen. No, we will keep trying and trying and trying, but still we believe it's up to God's willing. I don't know if this is your concern or I went somewhere.
No,
different.
you were absolutely on point, because as I said, you have to be kind to yourself. That's what I meant when I said be kind to yourself, and come to that realization. When would you like to accept that, this is where my drama ends? Because sometimes we push ourselves so hard to make a change that we're not ready for it, and we're still sore from the pain, and yet we push ourselves to be normal. And then we can neither be honest with the pain that we're feeling, or we cannot be even honest with the progress that we want to make. So just sometimes it's important to give that buffer time of kindness, and then move forward and then make the change. It took some time for you also as a mom to come to that space of a resolution that, okay, this is how it is. It took me some time. And it always does take some time for the sand to settle and to be able to see past clearly. That's so important.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Great. So we're close to the end of our webinar. So I'd like you, Ruqya, please, if you don't mind, to sum up what we just give us the gist of it. So, and just if you can summarize everything around 3 points, key points. The first one is, what's mindset? What makes it important, and how to work on it, how to acquire that positive mindset. Please.
Okay. So a mindset to me is like a rainbow of colors. Just be mindful of what filters you're using. Just be mindful of what you're feeling in the moment is so important. The thoughts that you're having that awareness, and then moving forward is super, super important. Being aware also of what is the noise inside of you and outside of you. Being aware whether it's your own mindset, or are you gauging yourself based on somebody else's way of looking at life. These are all things that make a massive difference. And to understand that a mindset is never fixed. It's always evolving depending on the experiences that life is giving you. And it's important to be kind to yourself. And in those moments that seem very, very challenging, it's super important that you give yourself room to breathe, to just feel ready to realign with a space of growth. So yeah, these I feel are the most important takeaways for me from this conversation today.
Okay, so with that, we come to the end of our session. So I'd like to invite all our guests to give a round of applause for Ruqya. Well done, Ruqya. So colorful scarf. So with that, and just to capture this moment. So let's open our cameras, if you don't mind, and get a wonderful picture all together. So I can we can send it to you all, so we can remember and keep this this moment for forever. So with your permission, so all the cameras on.
Thank you so much, Ruqya.
With the smile.
That's nice, Sonia.
Thank you.
So 1, 2, 3, cheers. Applause. Thank you, my friends. Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ruqya.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ruqya.
Thank you all, and see you in the next webinar. So
thank you, Ruqya. Thank you, Kais, for organizing it.
Thank you
so much, everybody. Pleasure meeting
Thank you, Kais and
you all.
Ruqya, for making this event.
Right.
See you. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.